So the Google Stadia event came, and with it the announcement trailer of the long anticipated Baldur's Gate 3. Shortly after, there was E3 and more information about the game was delivered. So now that the dust has settled a bit, I thought this would be a good time to take a look at all the things we know about Baldur's Gate 3 so far. This video is a summary of the most important information I've found so far. The sources for this video are the community video, the Stadia announcement trailer, a Fectralife interview, an interview from E3, and an article from PC Gamer. If you want to check these out yourselves, links to all these sources can be found in the description. Also, if you would like to see me talk about Baldur's Gate 3 some more, or any of the other stuff I talk about on this here channel, go ahead and drop a subscription. Alright, let's get started. First of all, let's talk about story and setting. So if we take a look at the announcement trailer, long story short, Baldur's Gate is being invaded by mind flayers. And since Stranger Things Season 3 came out recently, maybe it should be made clear that no, it's not these things, but these guys. An alien species who used to rule a great empire but now reside in the Underdark regions. If you want the trailer more thoroughly dissected, I've made a video where I explain what's going on in it. But aside from that, we have learned a bit more about the story. According to Sven Vincke, your party's adventure will take place around and in the city of Baldur's Gate. He has also stated that this is a story that takes place after all earlier Baldur's Gate installments, even the upcoming tabletop adventure Descent to Avernus. This means that nothing you've done in previous games will carry over to Baldur's Gate 3. The old games will be referenced in the story, but aside from that, Baldur's Gate 3 seems to be completely disconnected from a story perspective. So let's talk about some mechanics. In this area we obviously don't know much, but there are some interesting things that have been revealed. To begin with, the rule set used in the game will be D&D 5th edition, compared to Baldur's Gate 2 that came out quite some time ago that used D&D 2nd edition rules. Another thing that Sven has talked about is player freedom, how they want to see how close they can come to the freedom players have in a tabletop RPG but in a video game. One specific example that is brought up is environmental interaction, something that Divinity players should recognize. But they say they want to take that even further than they do in Divinity Original Sin 2. Apparently they've gone through the entire D&D 5th edition player handbook and tried to translate as much as possible into mechanics in the game. Party size. This one we don't know much about, so why do I bring it up in a video about what we know? That's a good question and I'm not gonna answer it. Instead, let's talk about how when Sven is asked if they know how big the party will be in Baldur's Gate 3, he just says, "We know," with a smug tone and doesn't want to say anything else about it. This is obviously just speculation on my part, but would this be the answer if the party size was still the standard 6? I don't think so. I think in Baldur's Gate 3 our party will either be larger or smaller than 6 members. Let's see if I'm right or wrong on that one. Multiplayer. Multiplayer is something that once again will be recognized by people who have played Divinity, and cooperative multiplayer has been confirmed to be in Baldur's Gate 3 as well. Returning characters. So remember what I said earlier about how the story is a completely separate thing from the earlier games. That doesn't necessarily mean that our old friends from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 won't return. Sven Vincke has said the following, and I quote, "If you look at what the 5th edition has done, characters like Boo and Minsk are still alive. Ball and maybe a couple of other guys are still around. What's gonna happen with that? You're gonna discover when you play Baldur's Gate 3. End quote. So it actually seems quite likely that we'll be able to at least encounter Minsk and his giant miniature space hamster Boo, which of course makes me and probably a lot of other old Baldur's Gate players very, very happy. Finally, let's talk about the time frame. When it comes to the time frame, we kinda know two things. One is that the game has been in development since late 2016. The other thing is that we don't know when it will be released. And sure, that isn't really knowing something, but it is telling us something. And that is that rather than having a deadline set in stone that Larian will do everything they can to meet, the game will be released when it is good and ready. And in an age of developers being pushed to what BioWare employees have made up the term stress casualties for, yes, employees at big studios burning out from crunch is so common now that at one workplace it has its own name. And consider how many big $60 titles that are released in a half-baked state along with a roadmap promising that the game will be good later. The fact alone that Larian has worked on this for 2.5 years, come out swinging with the news and have cool enough heads to say it'll be ready when it's ready is really reassuring to me. We live in a time where I am glad that the biggest publishers in the world with the most financial muscle, which should be good for a game, come nowhere near my favorite titles. Thank God it's a studio such as Larian that makes Baldur's Gate 3 and not the now EA-owned BioWare, who made the first 2 Baldur's Gate games. It feels weird that that is how I feel, a sense of relief that BioWare, the original creators of Baldur's Gate, aren't making Baldur's Gate anymore. Alright, those are all the things that I found most interesting from everything we know about Baldur's Gate 3 so far. Is there anything you'd like to talk about more, or something you believe that I've missed to bring up in this video? Let me know in the comments section or head to my Discord server, a link to that is in the description. Over there you can chat with me and other cool people, and there's also a channel called the BG3 Waiting Room where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with Baldur's Gate 3 from now until it is released. And with that, I'll just leave you with a thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.